Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Things look a little bit different compared to what we normally do. Well, this is my friend Kerry. I met him because of a Land Rover video, and we've become good friends since then. And we decided to do a video together. Well, I decided for that, and he was all for it. So
I agree, for sure.
He agreed, and I'm very excited to see how this turns out. So this is actually take two with the 2020, I accidentally said 2021 in the first video, the 2020 Range Rover Velar SVAutobiography. I'm not going to say the whole long name. Doug DeMuro did a good job of that, but you know what?
Straight Pipes did too.
We're going to leave it at that.
Straight Pipes version. Listen to what they said about it.
But we're going to kind of tag team on this a little bit and see how it goes. And tell me down in the comments if you want to see Kerry in more videos, because I have a feeling this is going to go very well. We haven't rehearsed this. We're just going off the cuff. But I'll tell you one thing we did rehearse. And let's let a car get by here before we do anything too crazy. Can you tell he's getting ready for something?
Let me get ready. I didn't bring my pills.
It's not quite the same as it is from a launch, but we'll do that in a minute. But if you want to see what that's like from the outside, so, got to thank my friend JP over at Southern Automation Incorporated for giving us that shot. That was pretty cool. We're going to do a few shots here today. Having Kerry with me, I can do some things we don't normally do. So, the Velar SVAutobiography. It's kind of the junior size of the Range Rover Sport. And if you didn't know, the Range Rover Sport that I did in a recent video, the 2014 model, is Kerry's, and so he's very familiar with the brand. And honestly, when you saw this one for the first time in person, what did you think?
I wanted it. For sure. I mean, I like my Rover and never thought about getting rid of it, but this here is a whole nother level. More horsepower, smaller vehicle, very beautiful. The color combination is completely awesome. I don't like to think about buying new vehicles because I'm that guy. But this here, I want to take this home when we're done. tell the owner like you lost it or something.
You might get in a fight with an 84-year-old man.
Just tell him you lost it.
So, I find it very interesting that this model really tries its best to pick the front end up off the ground when you launch it. I mean, it really gets up and goes. It's all-wheel drive, but if you turn off stability control, it's rear-wheel drive. And we're not going to do that today, but it is something you can do. Now, one thing that we did talk about earlier is that, you know, you didn't really hear the supercharger whine, but I think you actually can. Let's find out. Just gave the workers a show back there. I bet that got their attention.
Wow.
What do you think?
Everybody should experience this. If you can't afford to go to an amusement park, come take a ride in one of these.
Now here's the deal. Why can we do what we just did? Why does it respond that way? 5-liter supercharged V8, same that's in the Range Rover Sport Autobiography and other models of the Sport as well. 550 horsepower, 502 foot-pounds of torque. Mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and of course that's putting that power to the ground through the all-wheel drive system. And I'm going to tell you what, it does a great job of putting it to the ground. I mean, were you surprised the first time I dropped the hammer on this one?
Absolutely, for sure. It's brutal. I mean, it'll send you to the hospital. I already told you how riding in this ended my desire to be an F-16 pilot. I would never survive the training just after riding in this thing. Yeah, the way it made me almost go to the hospital. It's a torque monster, it really is. It brings your insides up. For sure.
That tells you something about how stout this is. Now let's talk technology. What do you think about the technology in here?
Oh, it's great. I mean, mine's a 14, of course, so it doesn't have the dual screens. I'm a person who prefers buttons, and a lot of the buttons that I have are gone in this vehicle. So I guess you have to get used to all the touch screens and very beautiful. It's, man, they did a marvelous job on this. The map in the screen is really amazing. I can't put a map on my screen, just in my display panel here, but that map in front of you is awesome.
Now, one thing that you brought this up, and I do think that I'm the only person who's ever covered this, and it was an accident that I figured it out. Obviously, with the top screen, you can change the angle. But what I see a lot of, what do most people do with that? How do they do that?
They tap it. They tap. All the videos I've seen, they're just tapping, 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 tapping. And you're the only person I've seen in a video who just showed that you just hold it, it'll come to you or it'll go back. Just keep your finger on it. Everyone else is just tapping, tapping. And they talk about how annoying it is, but they haven't figured out that if you just hold it, it'll go both directions with your finger just sitting on it. If anybody else has figured it out, I've only seen it in your video.
There's probably others that have. I don't know. We'll see. Somebody might tell us down in the comments. I'm not really sure. And of course, we've got multiple driving modes here, and let's talk about that. Tell them about that.
That I don't know what the looks like the racing, the dynamic setup. When you press that little helmet, everything turns red.
It made Carrie's face turn red there.
So you press the helmet, everything turns red. That lets you know you're in dynamic mode. It's in dynamic steering. The engine's in dynamic mapping. The gear shift is in dynamic shifting. The suspension is in dynamic. And it makes you throw up.
And makes you glad you didn't become an F-16 pilot, or try to at least.
I would have never survived the training. I would have failed that little spin around thing.
What about the interior? Let's talk about that.
This diamond stitched seating is awesome. Has power headrest that goes up and down. Awesome. This whole vehicle is just, the owner who spec'd this out, he did a great job spec'ing this out. The exterior color to the interior color, perfect.
And it's comfortable.
It's perfect. It's very comfortable.
You know, a lot of the
it's
time,
in dynamic still right now.
Yeah, we're in dynamic mode, and when you typically go into the, basically that's, if you don't know, that's Land Rover jargon for high performance. Everything is set to its most aggressive setting, including the suspension, but yet this thing rides great.
It does have automatic parking right there.
Yeah, it does. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about the camera. One thing that I saw on somebody else's video, who will remain nameless, but all I can say is this is how it actually works. Did I give it away?
Yeah, probably.
So the thing is, if you see what I'm putting on the screen right now, even though basically the 360 degree view, when you see it on the screen, it looks like, well, that's kind of small, don't you think, for the price point of this model that starts at $90,000, but you could get it up over $100,000 no problem with the right options. You would think you'd have more of a larger view than that, basically. Well, all you got to do is touch the screen, and then you can zoom in and actually see a much closer view, and it takes up more of the screen. And so you actually have that option there if you want it. So it's not just that small little view right there. So
3.5 hour drive. By the time I got there, I knew how everything worked. This thing here, though.
It's kind of like being blindfolded on a roller coaster. You don't know when the hammer's going down.
Yeah. Riding with Tom is always an adventure.
You know, he's a good sport because he let me drive his, pun intended by the way, he let me drive his sport the way I wanted to last week. But I was polite. I asked.
That's what it's built for. Except, I don't drive it the way Driven Hard drives his, but boy.
What about cargo space? Let's talk about that.
It's not as big as the Sport for sure, but it's definitely, this vehicle itself is, to me, it's probably one of the best compromises between an SUV and a car. So the trunk space, the boot space back there is adequate for what you generally have to get done. It's not too big, it's not too small, and you still have fold down back seats, but you need more room than that. So this is a perfect size vehicle.
And the ambient lighting is really good here too. We've got some shots of that over at Southern Automation Incorporated. We'll leave a link down in the description of the video for my friends there. They handle production, packaging, and conveyor belts all that kind of equipment. They're the sponsor of today's video. So if you can use those types of services, check out the link down in the description of the video. And if you do business with them, tell them that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you, because I might get a cut. Shh.
Does it have a comfort mode?
Can you tell the difference?
No. It's brutal either way.
I could actually tell a little bit of a difference. It didn't seem to squat as much. That when it takes off in dynamic mode, when I drop the hammer, especially launching it, in fact, maybe we'll get up here and we'll do a launch.
I didn't want to, you're right, I didn't want to throw it back there.
Yeah.
That time I didn't want to throw it.
So it definitely, there is a difference. Now, speaking of that, here's something that I didn't know, because I've never been able to see what the vehicle does from the outside when I'm raising and lowering it. I've shown that in some of my videos before, but you can actually see the position of the tires changing. You see that in the video. That's a good thing about having Kerry. He was watching from the outside when I was raising and lowering the suspension on the vehicle with the air suspension. And it's more than just the position of the height that's changing. The tires, the position of the tires and wheels.
They adjust.
Yeah, it actually adjusts. It's very interesting.
Only when the vehicle goes down. When it goes up, they stay where they are. But when you lower it, they kind of adjust the position of the tire. So there's obviously some suspension geometry going on down there that you can't see. That it caused them to move a little bit. It was interesting to watch. It was slight, about an inch, but it was noticeable.
Hopefully that's easily noticeable on the screen. I haven't seen it. I guess I should have looked from the outside when we had the chance earlier, but I didn't do that. So I'll have to see it in editing and see how that turns out. So I'm very interested just to see the difference, to see how much of a difference you can tell. We're going to get up here when we get past this road up here. I'm going to launch one more time and just see what it's like. There's nobody around, so I just want to see what the difference is without being in dynamic mode.
This is an awesome road. You can just like go fast anytime you want to.
That was pretty impressive for not being in dynamic mode. Now I could tell the shifts were not as long, so the gears were not as long in the transmission as far as the shifting point, so it didn't hold them out as long. So obviously the shifting map, basically shifting pattern, changes in dynamic mode. I could really tell a difference. The gears changed a lot faster.
What's the price of one of these?
They start at $90,000, but you can, I don't know what you could max it out at, but it would be over $100,000 for sure if you added enough options. What are your final thoughts? What do you think?
It's a great vehicle. I've seen Velar 4 and 6 cylinders on the road. Glanced at them. I made a comment on someone's video before about Velars that I would never consider a Velar unless it had a V8, because I'm a V8 person. And then it came out with a V8, and now that I've been in one, it's extremely impressive. And I can compare it to, I'm on my 3rd Range Rover Sport. This thing is absolutely awesome. And I think that since it doesn't cost upwards of $150 or anything like that, it's definitely worth the money you pay for it compared to the competition. I mean, I'm not a turbocharged kind of guy. Some of them sound great, but I own turbochargers in my BMW 7 Series. I prefer superchargers. This vehicle is great. It really is.
I do like the fact that with the supercharger, it's just, you have instant power. You don't have to build boost or anything like that.
Instant for sure.
And it's very versatile. And if you put the right tune-up on it, which obviously that's how this works with this model, in that it's the same motor that's in other Range Rovers, the 5-liter, but it has a different tune-up. So instead of making 518 horsepower, it's making 550, and you can make even more if you step up to the true,
like the SVR.
The SVR, that's right. So 585 horsepower. I would love to have that in this Velar. That would
probably break this thing.
You might pass out.
Man, I think it would probably break the doggone transmission or something.
Or we'll see what happens. So tell me in the comments, guys. Tell us in the comments.
Great vehicle. If you're considering one, buy it for sure.
Yeah, you want to see Kerry in more videos? I think he did a great job. you know, we do this a few more times, I think we'll match even better, and it'll just be really cool. So tell me what you think. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. We look forward to seeing you in the next Vehicle Visionary video. Have a great day.
Great day.
Bye-bye.